Lagos Talks
91.3.
News.
President Muhammadu Buhari will tomorrow Thursday unveil 81 national and regimental colours for the newly established and operationalised units and retired unit colours of the Nigerian Army. The Army's Director of Public Relations, Brigadier General Onyema Nwachukwu, said this while briefing newsmen on the trooping and presentation of colours parade on Tuesday in Abuja. Nwachukwu said the last trooping and presentation of colours parade for the Army units was conducted in 2007 and new units had been established and operationalized since then in line with the increasing operational commitments of the Army as well as provisions of its extant order of battle (OBAT). He said colours were usually retired after 10 years of service, and most of the colours in the Nigerian Army have been used in multiple operations in various geopolitical zones of the country as well as foreign countries, hence deserving retirement and the presentation of new ones. The federal government has empathized with Nigerians stranded in Sudan but warned them against making treacherous journeys in the bid to return home. The director overseeing the Office of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Janet Olisa, and the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Nasiru Sani Gwazo, gave the advice in a joint statement yesterday. According to the statement, parents are urged to advise their wards that while concerted efforts are being made to evacuate them, the students should endeavor to remain calm and maintain constant communication with officials of the Nigerian Embassy in Sudan for instructions and updates. Meanwhile, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, plans to evacuate about 2,650 to 2,800 people first, including students, embassy staff, and their families. Nigeria's president-elect Bola Tinubu has dismissed the rumours surrounding his state of health, assuring that he is very strong. Tinubu spoke late yesterday while addressing the crowd of party supporters at his Asokoro residence in Abuja. Tinubu, who left Nigeria on March 21 shortly after the general elections, returned to the country from France on Monday. Assuring Nigerians that he has rested and is poised for the huge challenge ahead, the president-elect said he is strong and happy to be back. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, has commenced the 2023 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination nationwide. Data obtained from the examination body revealed that close to 1.6 million candidates across over 700 centres are expected to take the examination, which will come to an end on May 12, 2023, so as to give room for the registration for the direct entry examinations. Dr. Fabian Benjamin, Head, Public Affairs and Protocol of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, says the conduct of the 2023 UTME exercise so far nationwide has been impressive and is expected to run till May 2. Benjamin, in a telephone interview yesterday, added that candidates who, for technical reasons, could not take the examination are to print new examination notifications early today, April 26, to know their rescheduled sessions. The World Health Organization, WHO, says the R21 or Matrix M malaria vaccine, given provisional approval by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, still needs to undergo more trials. WHO Country Representative to Nigeria, Dr. Walter Mulumbo, during a media parley at the UN House in Abuja yesterday, also restated the importance and efficacy of the RTSS vaccine adopted by countries like Ghana and Kenya. As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to mark World Malaria Day during Africa Vaccines Week and World Immunization Week, Dr. Mulumbo also emphasized the need for proper policy, funding, and education in the efforts to get Nigeria and Africa to zero malaria. He noted that 96% of world deaths and 95% of world infections from malaria occurred in Africa, while Nigeria contributed to 79% of Africa's unvaccinated children. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) has warned skit makers to stop using its logo and jackets in their production. In a statement issued by the NDLEA Director of Media and Advocacy, Mr. Femi Babafemi, the agency warned those found of the indiscretion of misusing its official jackets to mislead and create false impressions to be ready for the consequences. He was reacting to a trending video of some people wearing red jackets similar to the ones used by officers and men of the agency, which the agency had disclaimed a year ago. The spokesman said that the agency had, in a well-publicized statement on May 21, 2022, stated that the video was a skit produced by one Matthew C. Eze, who lived in the Lekki area of Lagos, and the confusion of the controversial video had created in the minds of members of the public underscores the need for some social media content producers to show restraint. The Labour Party, the LP, has asked the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal sitting at the Appeal Court in Abuja to disregard an alleged letter by its factional chairman, Lamidi Apapa, seeking to withdraw the petition of Peter Obi, presidential candidate of the party, against the declaration of Bola Tinubu as president-elect. Acting National Publicity Secretary of the party, Obiora Ifo, made the call in a statement on Tuesday in the latest attempt by the breakaway faction to allegedly destroy the party, accusing the erstwhile National Legal Advisor Samuel Akingbade, National Financial Secretary Benga Daramola, National Youth Leader and Anselm Eragbe, and the National Publicity Secretary Abayomi Arabambi, amongst others, of colluding with the factional chairman to derail the party. The LP's acting spokesperson called on the Department of State Services, the DSS, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and the police to arrest the enemies of democracy. The governorship re-election bid by Hope Uzodinma received a boost as 3 serving members of the House of Representatives from the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, and the All Progressives Grand Alliance, APGA, in Imo State defected to the All Progressives Congress, the APC. The lawmakers, including Bede Eke, representing the Abombasa Ngokpala Federal Constituency, Emeka Nwauba, representing the Mbaitoli Ikeduru Federal Constituency, and Ikena Elezia Anya, representing the Owerri Municipal, Owerri North, and Owerri West Federal Constituencies, announced their defection yesterday in Owerri, the Imo State capital. The INEC has scheduled November 11, 2023 for off-peak gubernatorial election in Imo, Bayelsa and Kogi states. At the official declaration held at Ndubisu Kanu Square in Owerri, the defecting lawmakers promised to back the governor's re-election bid for a second term. The Lagos State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has ratified the suspension of its chairman, Pastor Philip Ivoji, and his deputy, Tai Benedict, pending the outcome of the instituted court cases. The party's publicity secretary in Lagos State, Alhaji Hakim Amode, yesterday in Lagos disclosed that the State Working Committee reached the resolution after appraising the outcome of the 2023 general elections. Ivoji and Benedict were suspended, respectively, by the award executives on April 14 over an alleged gross violation of the party's constitution. A crisis is also rocking PDP at the national level with the suspension of its national chairman, Dr. Iyorchia Ayi, shortly after the February 25 and March 18 general elections. U.S. President Joe Biden has announced that he will seek re-election for the presidency in 2024. Now 80 and already the oldest president in U.S. history, Biden had long signaled he would run for another 4-year term. In a video to launch his bid to retain the White House, he cast the next election as a fight for democracy and personal freedom, saying, "Let's finish the job." Donald Trump has already launched his bid to return to the White House, meaning the pair could be set for a rematch of the 2020 election in November next year. However, an NBC News poll recently found that 70% of Americans and just over half of Democrats believe he should not run again. The Islamic State group mastermind, thought to have planned the devastating 2021 bombing at Kabul airport, has been killed by Afghanistan's ruling Taliban. The bombing that August killed 170 civilians and 13 U.S. soldiers as people were trying to flee the country as the Taliban took control. The IS figure was killed weeks ago, but it took time to confirm his death by U.S. officials. His name has not been released. U.S. officials said they had determined through intelligence gathering and monitoring of the region that the leader had died, though they did not provide further details on how they had learned that he was responsible for the bombing. The World Bank has advised the federal government to unify the nation's multiple exchange rate windows and carry out a number of other reforms to strengthen the economy and restore macroeconomic stability. The Washington-based lender made this known in its latest macro-poverty outlook for Nigeria for the month of April 2023. The World Bank said implementing economic reforms in the non-oil revenue space would reduce fiscal and debt pressures alongside the planned removal of fuel subsidies by the federal government. The bank had said Western economic environment in the country had pushed millions of Nigerians into poverty through chronically high inflation that has been on the rise since 2019, especially for food items, eroding the purchasing power of poor and vulnerable Nigerians and increasing poverty. South Africa are among the nations that have submitted bids to host the 2027 Women's World Cup. A statement by FIFA said the African country, which hosted the 2010 Men's World Cup, the only country in the continent to ever do so, are among 4 other bids for the women's tournament. The African champions will battle Belgium, who have a joint bid with the Netherlands and Germany. US and Mexico are also hoping to jointly host the competition. Brazil are the other country proposing to stage the 2027 Women's World Cup. Chelsea interim boss Frank Lampard says Reece James will miss the rest of the season and Mason Mount is unlikely to feature in the final 7 games. James has been ruled out after a scan on a hamstring problem, while Mount has a pelvic injury. Chelsea are in advanced talks with former Tottenham manager Mauricio Pochettino to take charge. Lampard, who was brought in earlier this month to replace Graham Potter until the end of the season, has lost all 4 games of his second spell in charge at Stamford Bridge. The Blues are currently 11th in the Premier League table. Tottenham Hotspur's players are reimbursing sports fans the cost of their match tickets from the 6-1 defeat at Newcastle United on Sunday. Spurs were 5-0 down after 21 minutes of the game, and interim manager Christian Stellini has since been sacked. Spurs' allocation for the game was £3,209, with prices ranging from £19 to £30, meaning the gesture is likely to have cost around £80,000. The club said supporters were expected to receive the fund in their bank accounts within 24 hours. Tottenham's next game is at home against Manchester United on Thursday, when Ryan Mason, who worked under Stellini, and former manager Antonio Conte will be in charge. And that ends the World News this morning.